What's up, guys? It's Rahul. I am back again today, and had a long trip from Worlds into a different thing that I had to do, but I am back finally home, and we're back to making content. And the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about today is the deck that I played for the 2022 World Championships, which was Regigigas. Now, this is the list that I played. I will talk to you guys about the list a little bit, the logic behind playing Regigigas for Worlds. I know it's like a crazy play for a lot of people. Um, and yeah, I'll walk you through everything as we go. So I chose, like, Regigigas, this list is a very standard Regigigas list in my opinion. I don't know why this guy's here. Um, Opting to play one of the targeting bolt and electromagnetic sonar LAKEY to get resources back, as well as snipe the Dunsparce in many situations. Playing 4 copies of research and secondary supporter as Cynthia's Ambition over something like Marnie. Playing heavy choice belt and including Rotom phones in the list to kind of give ourselves some illusion of choice with Trekking Shoes, Pokestop, our Regidragos, or even Speed Energies. There are a ton of cards in this deck that draw you 1 to 2 cards a lot of the time, so having access to Rotom phone gets us exactly what we need in a lot of situations, and it paid off a lot in testing. Um, the idea was Pokestop would be the pivot. Oh, there's 2 copies of Air Balloon. Now, that one's a little bit weird for you guys as well. I think Air Balloon is not a card that's typically played in here, but when you can accelerate 3 energy in 1 turn, Air Balloon just becomes an attached retreat onto something like Drago. Or if you can accelerate a net in the same turn, so you can accelerate twice, you can accelerate 3 energy onto this Drago, maybe like 2 captures, or even like 2 captures and a speed, and retreat the speed off onto something like the LAKEY, power up the LAKEY with the Terra Spark and get it going, or power up like whatever other attacker you want. So this becomes like a perma retreater, and you don't have to dig for those pieces later down the line because the nets are so very valuable. But having 2 copies of Air Balloon does give you a permanent pivot. I don't know if 2 Balloon was correct. Maybe 1 Balloon, 1 Rope would have been better, but I don't think 1 Rope actually beats the matchups that you want it to beat. Like, I don't think the 1 Rope deals with the Flying Pika. I don't think the 1 Rope deals with Jammer in Palkia unless you have it on that exact turn. So, yeah, I chose to play Regigigas for Worlds. Pretty crazy decision. Probably, yeah. So we were testing a lot leading up to the World Championships. We had a lot of decks on our radar, a lot of decks that were performing super well. The biggest thing was, could we beat Palkia reliably enough? And the answer was a lot of the time, no. With a lot of the decks that we were playing, losing to Palkia became a bigger and bigger issue. So as we got closer to the event, we had kind of come down to maybe 3 decks. We had our own Flying Pika variant with Slaking. We had Regigigas, and we had Palkia left. And those were like probably the 3 decks that we had come down to at the very end. We even tried the Vikavolt deck a little bit that Philip and Tord's group ended up playing after seeing Philip playing it in day 1, because we wanted to see if there was any merit to it. Is there something we're missing? Like, what is the logic here? Is what we were kind of going through the motions. So Regigigas was testing super well for me, not so much the other guys. And I think I got to the point in testing where I was like, if I choose to play Palkia and I lose games, I will be unhappy. Like, I will be unhappy with my tournament that I picked Palkia, even though it's objectively the best deck. I'm going to go in, I'm going to play games, I'm going to lose games, and I'm going to be really unhappy that I played Palkia over Regigigas, because Regigigas has been testing very well for me. Regigigas has been playing, like, I don't know, it felt very good in the games that I was winning, and it didn't feel terrible in the games that I was losing. Except for the ones where I would prize 2 Reggies. Also, yeah, I guess I should mention that. Prizing 2 of a singular Reggie is a 4% chance, so playing a Hisuian Heavy Ball for a 4% chance did not feel really that great. And I mean, I guess you can Hisuian Heavy Ball for one of these guys out of the prizes at some point, but I don't know, you got kind of like, you need to find it, and there's no way to search it out, so I just did not feel like playing that card. I just don't know, like, if it was worth it. I feel like mathematically it was not worth it. So yeah, I decided, I think late Thursday night, that if I don't play Reggies, I will probably regret the decision at the World Championships, because, like, on the off chance that I make the right meta call, on the off chance that I pop off and do super, super well, like, I don't want that to be like a regret, you know? Like, I like know that if I played Palkia, I'll do fine maybe. But in my mind, I'm thinking if I play Palkia, I probably finish 4-3-1 or 3-3 drop or something like that. Like, I didn't have confidence in the mirror, because the mirror was very much determined on the coin flip and the tech cards placed. But I think a lot of people already knew, like, very good 60s. Like, we saw James Cox and Kaiwin playing very good 60 card lists that were very similar to like what we had. So our advantage points were Crobat and the Cologne. In our list, particularly, Isaiah Bradner got 16th with it. Congratulations to Isaiah, one of the most insane first-year Master seasons I've ever seen. That kid is going to do amazing things. But anyway, let's jump into my tournament report. So the first round I went up against Palkia, and game one, I really don't get anything going for me. Like my opening hand is like a bunch of bricks. Um, no way to draw cards, no way to do anything. It's like choice belts, scoop up nats, like no ball cards. Like I basically lose in like 2 turns. Game two, I absolutely roll my opponent, get the turn two Terra Spark, knock out their Palkia, into the turn three Terra Spark with a choice belt, knock out Palkia. They go into Inteleon. I just popped the Inteleon with Registeel, and then I think it didn't matter what they did for the last prize. Then game three was super unfortunate because I knew they played Horn because they discarded at some point. So I'm playing around singular Horn, and there was a turn where they went Avery double Horn, and I was like, oh, what? So I couldn't really play around that. But I had already burned 2 nets, and so at that point, I only had 1 net remaining, so I couldn't do anything with the prize tempo trade. And they actually just didn't take a knockout; they just waited. They like legitimately just chilled and set up a big Inteleon, 120-20'd, and then boss 120, taking 2 prizes in the same turn. Basically placing the board however they wanted to do it, and they had quick shooting up and running too, so I could just never recover from that board position because I was always going to be 1 turn behind. So I kind of got like rocked there, kind of unfortunate. Round 2 up against Palkia. Game 1, I went first, got the Terra Spark off turn 2. Like everything felt super easy, felt comfortable. Game 2, I prized double, I think, Gigas, so I scooped instantly because I actually don't have a win con. So why play it out? Like, it's not like I went first, I got an attachment or anything. It's like, no, I like went second. They got Palkia energy, like scoop it up, go next. Game 3 was actually significantly back in my favor. I got the turn 2 Terra Spark into like the turn 3. Like, I don't know, it was just like complete slaughter on my end. So now I'm 1-1. Round 3, I went up against Diego Casiraga, 2017 World Champion, playing Arceus, Gyarados, Jolteon with Memory Capsule. So he already played against my teammate John round 1, and John lost. And so John was telling me all the techs in the deck, and I was like, okay, I don't hear anything that I should be worried about. So far, like nothing worried. So game 1 is going. I take the first 2 prizes on Arceus. I'm feeling good. I'm like, this matchup should be super easy. I'm not like concerned about it. And then he puts an Empoleon V down. And then he bosses my Gigas. And I was like, oh no. And so in the time it took me to retreat Gigas, he powered up Empo. He one-shot my LAKEY. And I don't know, it was just lights out from there in game 1. Like, I think I could have maybe turned the corner if I had known that the Empo was in the deck. Like, I maybe could have preemptively netted to like reset my board or something. I don't know. I could have done something differently. I felt like in that game for sure. But yeah. And then game 2, Diego on his first turn opts to go get the Empoleon, bench it immediately, Trinity Charge to the Empoleon, and I drew for turn, and I got the attack off, but it was only on Gigas because I don't play boss. And then as soon as when I do that, then the Regigigas goes down to Empoleon. I no longer have energy on the board, so I extended my hand and said, that's GG. Thank you for playing. I lose. Because I can't do anything. I think I waited one more turn attached to the LAKEY to see what would happen, and he just bossed the LAKEY as soon as I had 2 energy on it. So I lost. And then so I'm 1-2, now knocked out of top 8 contention. Incredibly brutal tournament, like I mentioned. I go up against Blissey. Game 1, it's a complete steamroll. They played Dunsparce, so it was a little bit annoying to kind of like have to snipe it and then kind of go through each of the Blissies. Game 2, I almost end up decking myself, I think, on resource management that I mismanaged towards the very end. Like now I'm playing a little bit on tilt. Not gonna lie, like I was playing pretty poorly, I think. But I played to a position where I like mismanaged my resources slightly to almost deck out, but I ended up they ended up missing a knockout, and I ended up being saved, and I won the game. So kind of crazy. Probably would have ended up a tie if anything went worse. Yeah. So 2-2. And then I went up against Palkia once again. And then game 1, I lost because game 1 I won. And then game 2, I prized double ice. And I was like, oh no. So I scooped instantly. Again, 4% chance. And then game 3, I ended up missing an attack one turn. So it came down to me having to attack on this very final turn. And if I miss the attack, I'm now 1 turn behind and I lose. But if I get the attack, I win the game. And so I preemptively rod my deck. And it's all 3 of my LAKEY and 1 of my ice in the deck now. And I need to top deck the LAKEY for turn because I don't have any. I prized my last 2 prizes were double quick ball. So I'm sitting here like I just need to take one knockout here and the game ends. Like, I literally cannot lose the game if I can take a knockout here. And so I'm just looking for the top deck of LAKEY to be able to attack this turn. And I top deck the ice, which puts me in a losing position. And I like kind of like hung my head down. I said, do I want to keep playing today? Like, I can go 5-3, but it means nothing. So I went and signed the drop slip. And my 2022 World Championships ended right there. Yeah, I mean, I think I still made the right decision on deck. I don't think I ever win the tournament because of the Pikas, but I think I made the decision that I thought would be the best call for the tournament, in my opinion. In hindsight, obviously, I think playing Palkia would have just been fine, but I think I would have regretted it not playing Gigas. So, yes, 2023 Yokohama. I'm going to be putting my full effort towards qualifying, especially as a day 2 competitor, if that's still on the table. Japan has been like a lifelong dream of mine and probably a lot of other players. So I can't wait to try and qualify, and we'll see what happens. So hope you guys can keep supporting me and wishing me good luck, especially my competitive endeavors. We're going to see what happens as we progress. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate the watch. Peace out.